God damn it.
What the fuck?
Oh! Holy shit! Big Al's Bike and Auto coming at you today with excessive amount of vehicles in my front yard, and yes, they are all mine. Crazy enough, I wish I could say they weren't, but I've only multiplied my car buying problem by quite a few more. We have 2 more new ones today. These are going to be flip cars. I'm going to hopefully turn them over this week so I can free up some of my yard again. You can see I've had to park my Escalade. The Escalade usually goes here, but we're going to be moving these cars here in a minute to change the oil, so I have it across the street. But I put 1 car in this neighbor's yard. I got my little Cobalt over there that I gave to my girlfriend holding the camera as a DD, as a daily driver. That's over there. And I got the cars that I store in the parking garage. So, and all the ones here. But we get 2 new ones here from Copart. And when this video started, you probably saw them coming off the truck. This is, if you watched my video a few weeks ago, or now it's over a month ago, I put it from the old channel onto this channel. This is another AT&T Malibu. This is a 2000, just like the last one. Pretty much the same car, just as well maintained. A little bit less miles on this one, 156,000. The one I bought last time was 168. However, I paid a little bit more for this one. I've got some competition now at the auction for the AT&T cars. I think someone was watching my video because that video got like 3,000 views in a week or 2. And make sure your finger's not in the way of the camera. So anyway, I think they've been watching my videos, seeing that these cars are a hot seller because I had quite a few bidders I had to compete on for this car. I ended up paying $400 for it. The last one I paid $250 for. It's definitely a little bit more. Not a big deal. But remember, at Copart, $400 is not $400. It's $400, and then the fees, and then you got to transport it to your property, and then the taxes and the title and everything else. And this car has ended up being around $800, all said and done. You know, title in my name, ready to sell, delivered here, the taxes, the fees, everything. So not terrible, considering I sold the last one for $1,600 that had more miles. This one I'd say is about the same condition. The tires are pretty close to brand new on it. The last one had like brand new tires on it. Actually, these are like 80%, so I'll put it as new tires. The same typical, you know, early 2000s GM paint issues. The paint's just flaking off in a couple of spots. You can see these are fresh off the truck. I haven't cleaned them or done anything yet because I know you guys enjoy watching that. So these came in yesterday, and I've done a couple minor things. They both need an oil change pretty bad. That's what we're gonna do in a minute. This one had no coolant in the surge tank. I topped it back off. Actually, which is concerning me a little bit. I don't know if something's leaking, like a water pump or the heater core or something. I have no idea. Or, you know, maybe it just evaporated out because there was a lot of moisture on the top of the tank. So maybe it was, you can tell these cars have been sitting for a long time. So maybe it just evaporated out. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. See, the tank's still full. And I had it running for a while too, so I don't think it's leaking. But this one runs well, just as well as the other one did. I think it might need motor mounts because the engine moves around a little bit, but you know, it shifts very smoothly. It drives great. I've driven both these cars around the block, but I haven't really taken them out. So, like I said, 156,000 miles in this one. Paid a little bit more for it, but it does have less miles, so I think it'll be a little bit easier to sell. Not crazy less miles, but still. I know I can get at least $1,600 for it because that's what I sold the other one for, and I had multiple people come look at it at that price point. So I'll probably list this one for like $1,800, best offer. Or maybe I'll get a little brave and put it up for $2,000 if it cleans up nice enough. The headlights in this one are like brand new. The other one were very yellow. Which I usually clean them up. I had a few people comment, why didn't you clean up the headlights? I just forgot, to be honest. But this one does have a few more cosmetic issues. This hood in the front here, I'm gonna do a little touch up. and this bumper's got a crack in it. So we'll see. I think I can get around the same amount of money for this one, $1,600. So, you know, that's doubling my money, literally. I'm into this one for $800, all said and done. As I went over the fees, the taxes, all the bullshit. So double my money on that quickly. I'm down for that any day. Then we have over here, it's a 95 Cavalier. The birds have already had their fun with it. This car obviously doesn't have as high of a resale value or resale interest for people as the Malibu. A lot more people like the Malibu. It's bigger, it's more comfortable, it's got the V6, and it's better looking. To most people, I love the way these cars look. I think they're very sharp. They're very happy looking cars. And I just love this is at the tail end of the Malaise era. This 95, or this is an OBD1 car. I don't know, I grew up around these cars, so I like these a lot. But anyway, the reason I bought this, and I'm sure the guys who are familiar with Copart watching this video, you saw there's a D on the Malibu, which means run and drive, and there's an S on the Cavalier, which usually means it was only able to start and it wouldn't go into gear. And normally I wouldn't buy a car that has an S only on it because obviously got a transmission problem. But I went and looked at these before I bid on them, and this one, I get in and it's not engaging any gear at all, nothing. You know, you're just able to move the lever up and down. And I go, that's not, you know, is this still recording? Yeah. So anyway, I could tell it wouldn't engage into any gear. I go, this isn't a transmission issue. This is an issue with the shift cable. So I popped the hood open, like I'll do right now. Put the keys on here. That would be a real shitty start to the video. 4,000 keys. You know it's this one right here. So anyway, I popped the hood open. This was at Copart, and I was looking at it. It fired right up. It ran well, cold AC. And the reason I like this car, cosmetically, it's bad, but it's got 73,000 miles on it. It's like brand new. The interior is in great shape. And for a Cavalier, most people bought these things and they drove the hell out of them. So this one you can tell has been parked for a very long time. It's very musty inside, and you can even smell the fuel when you open up the gas cap, and it's very old. It's like vinegar. So we're definitely gonna put a full tank of fresh fuel in here and some fuel stabilizer to make sure that I don't have any issues with the fuel filter or anything like that. But I opened this hood at Copart while I had it running, and I'm fairly familiar with these cars, the 2.2 Cavaliers and some Fires and all that. I had an idea of where the, you know, mostly even on the Malibu, it's probably in the same place where the shift cable is. I reached down back here and I felt around, and you can actually see it. The camera probably won't pick it up, but right below the master cylinder here is where the shift thing links up down there. So I popped it right back on, got back in the car, and went into gear, no problem. So I said, shit, it doesn't have a transmission problem. So I popped it back off and left. Remember, I didn't tamper with this car. When it came in, Copart established that it would not go into gear. I figured out what the problem was, confirmed that was the problem, and I put it back as it was when I found it. So auction day came up, nobody bid on it besides me because of the start and not the drive. So the minimum bid on this was $250. That's what I got it for. Do I wish I paid less for it? You know, like $175 minimum bid, of course. I'm not sure why the minimum bid was $250, but that's what I paid. So with all the fees, the taxes, the delivery, everything like that, I'm into this car for around somewhere in the 500 mark. So not bad, especially with the low miles. Again, it's ugly as sin to most people, but I know I got a buyer out there somewhere with 70,000 miles on it. The AC is ice cold. And the batteries in both these cars, that's one difference between this Malibu and the other one I bought. That one had a bad battery. I had to go out and buy one, but I buy them at the junkyard for 20 bucks. I don't really care. But both these cars came with good batteries, so that was nice. I didn't have to deal with all that. So anyway, what we're gonna do, as I do in all the Copart videos, is these cars are fresh from Copart. I haven't done anything to them yet, besides top off the coolant in that one. And you can see they definitely need an oil change. Now, maybe some of you are wondering why I bother changing the oil in these cars when I'm just gonna sell them. I don't know, I have a little bit of a conscience. Like, I know that most people buy, look at the transmission fluid, by the way. It is nice and pink. I know that most people buying these kind of cars are not going to take very good care of them, and they're probably not going to change the oil for a while. I don't want to see these cars end up in a junkyard or someone didn't change the oil. I mean, at least if I change the oil now, you know they're going to go for at least, they've got some time, you know what I mean? And hopefully they'll change the oil within 10,000 miles. So that's why I do it. And also, is it still recording?
Yep.
And also, something that people don't realize is SuperTech oil from Walmart is actually made by Shell. And this is something that I didn't even know for a long time, but I started seeing more and more people using it. And I said, well, I wouldn't put that crap in my engine. That's going to be terrible. And I did some research online, and there's a couple forums that talk about it. And there's actually proof, not just someone's opinion, that this is made by Shell. So if you didn't know that and you want to save some money, now would I run this in my Mustang or the Escalade? Probably not. But in something like this that I'm going to sell, I mean, it's better than the oil that's in there. But this is made by Shell. This is Shell oil. It's made at the same plant. The guy who did his research called the number that SuperTech gives, and the Shell number was the same plant, the same lady that answered. They make the same oil. They just repackage it, kind of like when you buy off-brand allergy medicine or cereal or whatever. So this is basically Shell oil. I buy this one, the high mileage, because this is like the synthetic blend. At least it's probably a little more trustworthy than the conventional. And a quart of this is $12 for 5 quarts. How the hell do you beat that? And I get the AC Delco filters at Walmart with this for like $2. So the oil changes don't cost me much at all, 15 bucks. And at least if someone comes and they're picky like me and they check the oil, it's gonna be nice and gold and clean. They're gonna say, wow, this car has been maintained. If I check that oil, I'd say this fucker has. So here we are underneath the Cavalier. Look at how dirty that oil was, this poor car. But no oil leaks. And it's got a new oil pan gasket, or newer, I should say. Oh, that's transmission gasket, actually.
It's leaking.
Oh, oops. Anyway, I'm just doing the oil change. The oil filter is a bastard on these things to reach. It's way behind where the power steering reservoir is, but doing the Cavalier first, but you can see everything down here is in great shape. They really do baby these cars, AT&T. The oil's only dirty because it's been sitting for years. You can just smell the gas, like I said earlier. But nothing leaks. The struts look newer. Even look at the axles and everything, and the boots. Everything is in perfect condition. Perfect condition. So that's why I love buying these cars. Okay, so I have another spare moment in my day. Of course, it's late as always, but I'm gonna get done what I can get done. That way these cars are hopefully ready to sell tomorrow. I'm hoping I'll have time tonight before I start getting too tired to take them down to the car wash, get them all cleaned up. The first thing I'm gonna do before I do that is take off all this Copart identification stuff. So I'm gonna rip off the lot numbers. I'm gonna take off all the writing on the windows, which sounds simple, but this shit cakes on here. It gets very, I mean, obviously it'll come right off with a razor blade, but it's not as simple as just wiping it off. So I'm gonna spend a few minutes doing that, and then take these down the car wash one by one and see how they clean up. I wouldn't expect a dramatic cleanup like the old Mercedes back there or the M Sport Coupe here, but you know, it'll be definitely an improvement overall. You can just see how much dirt is on these cars, so it'll be interesting to see just how nice they look underneath all the dirt. So, and the interiors as well, they need pretty good cleaning, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. All right, so here's the Malibu all cleaned up. As you can see, certain areas are not in as good cosmetic condition as the other Malibu I bought a few weeks ago from Copart, which was also an AT&T car. But this car also shines in some other areas. You know, the front clip isn't as nice in terms of the bumper. There's a little bit of damage in the hood here, but the headlights are definitely replaced, or at least they were buffed out. They're in excellent condition. And the sides of the car are in better condition on this. The paint is in much better shape. The last Malibu I had a lot of paint flaking off over here. This does have that issue up here as well, but not too bad overall. Again, this is going to be basic transportation for somebody. This isn't someone buying a toy car or a sports car or whatever. You can see the tires have great tread. And this car was definitely dirtier than the other Malibu I bought from AT&T a few weeks ago. But I'm not talking about the outside, I'm talking the inside. But the outside cleaned up very nice. So the inside of this car was very dirty. And I spent quite a bit of time cleaning it. These are the mats that came with it, but you can see definitely looks pretty good right now. Fix that for the pictures. Now the one thing I did with this car and the Cavalier as well that I didn't do with the other Malibu is I cleaned the engine bay, because this one was pretty effing dirty. and I said screw it. I bought a can of degreaser. I didn't go too crazy. I like to be careful because there's, you know, enough electronics on this car that I didn't want to mess anything up by getting it too wet. But it cleaned it up quite a bit. Believe me, there was a lot of residual oil over the engine before. So it definitely looks better. You don't want to make it too clean either, because then people think, okay, what are they hiding? They clean this whole engine up. Is there an oil leak they're hiding? Whatever. So it's clean enough that it looks, you know, like it was maintained, but not too clean that it looks like you're hiding something. The Cavalier came out a lot nicer, but that's an engine I don't worry as much about cleaning because there really isn't any electronics in that car. It's a 95, it's OBD1. So that's what's going on with the engine bay. But you can see the Malibu cleaned up pretty damn nicely. So I'm very happy with this. Seems to be good mechanically. Still have that coolant smell coming through the vents. I haven't had a chance to have it checked out yet. I just started working on this car yesterday when this video starts. So I'll take it down to my mechanic tomorrow, have him check it out, see if he can figure out what's going on with that. But get that goofy lock thing these cars all have on them. So anyway, I'm gonna take the pictures of this and I'll do the same with the Cavalier. Alright, just a quick clip of the Cavalier. This car didn't clean up as well as the Malibu because it has some paint issues. Issues I don't think I'm going to bother addressing. I don't think it's going to affect the price of the car because Cavaliers aren't worth much regardless of how they look. So we got some obvious rust issues in the hood here and on the roof, and there's paint issues everywhere. So no matter what I do to this car, it's still going to look pretty rough. I'd rather just leave it alone and let somebody else decide if they want to paint it or not. But mechanically it's sound and it's very clean on the inside. I think the interior will help sell it because it's in great condition, it's very clean, and the car has low miles and cold AC. So I think that will make up for the cosmetic issues on the exterior. You can see the inside's in real nice shape. And that's 73,000 miles. Very, very clean. This car cleaned up beautifully. I'll show you guys how the engine cleaned up. I did a very light degreasing on the engine on this car as well as the Malibu. I don't go too crazy because I don't want to run into any electrical issues. Although this car is very simple. The Malibu is more electronics, but I gave this a very light cleaning. You know, like I've said in the past, you want to clean it lightly enough that, you know, the engine looks presentable, but not too much so that people think you're hiding something because you cleaned up the whole engine and maybe there's leaks you're trying to hide or something like that. But anyway, it's ready to sell. I'm gonna list this one for, I'm stuck between $1,200 or $1,500. I might list it for $1,500, see if anybody bites. If not, I'll drop it down to $1,200 firm, or I might just lift it to $1,200 firm and, you know, while it's fresh on the market, get a buyer. And the Malibu I'm gonna list for $1,800. I had success at that number with the other Malibu I sold a few weeks ago. I sold that for $1,600, I had it listed for $1,750. So I'm gonna list this Malibu for $1,800 because the miles are a little bit lower. And you know, based on my comp a few weeks ago, that should sell around $1,500. And again, I'm hoping to get at least $1,200 for this. I probably won't let it go for much lower than that. Otherwise, I'll hang on to it for a bit because this car has very low miles and I like it a lot. So that's the scoop with these. I will keep you guys updated as to when they sell and what they sell for. So thanks for watching, and as always, keep an eye out for the next one.